VANUHTEE, go.
Oh my god, I love Livejournal, and my Livejournal loves me. Current mood is hyperactive, current music, Refuse 73. I love the color scheme, it's pink and purple, it looks dreamy. I love all the posts I make and the million comments that they rake. I love the internet and I love the world. Oh my god, I love my friends, make me so happy.
Welcome to a very special interview leading up to Comic-Con. My name is Jeremy Rutz. I'm editor-in-chief of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog and host of the SDConcast. Today I'm joined by Brian Flynn, who is the owner and founder of the designer toy company Super7. Hi Brian, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So I'm really excited because you guys are about to announce your lineup of exclusives for Comic-Con for this year. But I wanted to take a couple steps back. So we talked to you at Toy Fair this past February, and you talked about some of the challenges Super7 had at last year's Comic-Con. It was kind of like a good challenge, though, because there was such an overwhelmingly enthusiastic response to your alien reaction figures. So can you tell our viewers and readers a little bit more about that experience and what you learned from it for this year?
Well, last year was going to San Diego, we had really no idea what the reaction, no pun intended, was going to be to the alien action figures. If you really think about it in a holistic point of view, most everyone that's collecting action figures these days are buying highly articulated, highly paint detailed, very realistically sculpted action figures, and a lot of them are very sensitive to getting these at a very inexpensive retail price because they're buying from major chains, whatever. So when we were going down there, we were saying, okay, if you know about the 79 Aliens line, you only know it from sort of Tomarts back in the day and just sort of toy lore. You have to be pretty deep. We're bringing unpainted action figures. They're limited articulation. They're limited likeness. We're bringing them in a prototype blue, which is a very obscure reference to, the old Kenner prototypes. We're putting them in a mail-away non-art box that's a reference to the Kenner mail-aways. There's a lot of geek cred in there, but the reality is how many people are going to say, oh, I'm going to pay $40 for that, versus how many guys are like, oh, that's funny. No. Like, I'm going to go get, the new, Transformer, the new, Stormtrooper, whose every single finger is articulated.
Right.
So we really went down sort of hedging our bets that we felt we made the right quantity to get to Saturday. We wanted to sell out at San Diego Comic-Con, make it something that people that actually showed up could get. And we were simply unprepared for the depth and the wave of nostalgia. Going into it about a week beforehand, when we really started getting inundated with emails, we were sort of like, oh, we might not have made enough. And we were able to actually print some more early bird kits, so we had enough to go around there. But it wasn't really till a week before that we knew it was going to be not enough, but we had no idea it was going to sell out preview night. No idea at all.
Wow.
It blew our minds that that many people were sort of hungry for the same thing we were, which was sort of a much simpler time, if you will, in action figures.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really interested because you kind of gave a little bit of an insight, but what's your Comic-Con planning process like? So, like, when does it start? What's that process of selecting what product line you guys are going to bring or licenses? I mean, what's that like?
Well, I mean, I think pretty much everybody talks about it all year, but it really sort of comes into play November of December because you've got to have lead times and ship times, and then you never know what's going to stay on schedule. There's definitely a couple things we were hoping would be ready for San Diego that simply aren't. So we won't be here. And then there's other things that we started a little later in the process that are ready. So it's always a little bit more uneven and hectic than maybe everybody thinks. Everybody, I assume, thinks like, oh, making toys, you're a company, you got a machine, it's on track. And it's sometimes it's a lot less that. It's like, what do you mean that's not ready? Oh, no, the sculpt came back, it got rejected. There's a million different things. So I think for us this year was what we were thinking about with San Diego is we wanted to make sure it was exciting for people again this year. I think the one really great positive that came out of last year was just how excited the fans were with what we brought, and that we brought something sort of new and fresh to San Diego. So we really wanted to capitalize on that. But what we figured was going to happen is that there was a million people that are going to say, what early bird set are you bringing this year? And what unpainted prototypes are you bringing? And we were just like, I don't want to do the same thing. Plus, maybe it's being arrogant, but I almost sort of thought, I bet somebody else is going to show up with an early bird kit this year, since that worked out last year. Right. And somebody else is going to do it. So we were like, we've got to do something different this year, something unexpected. So, we really just tried to think about what would be fun. So that's where sort of the deep space set came from, where we thought about last year's unpainted figures, what would be fun, and we said, okay, if you're coming to Comic-Con these days, as we see most everybody coming to Comic-Con, they've got their printed out list of every exclusive they got to go chase, and they're running. See, people running right now. They're running from booth to booth, stressed about, are they getting them all? I got to get this, I got to get this. Then you have the professional flippers who didn't come to our booth last year, who we assume are going to be coming to our booth this year. And we just wanted to take a step back and say, okay, if you're coming here, it's supposed to be fun. How do we make it fun? So the idea behind the Deep Space set was it was a blind box action figure, which has not, to my knowledge, been done for action figures. And then, so obviously, we've got blind box, and we'll talk about that, but then we're also having a swap party Friday night. So
cool.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as you're buying your blind box and people are figuring out what's in them, you got something you didn't want, you got maybe a double or something, come back on Friday night at 6 p.m., come to the booth, trade your figures with other collectors. Like, have fun with this stuff. Don't make it a race. Try
That's
to have
awesome. Yeah. That's really awesome. Cool.
So this is actually the actual Deep Space. Cool. We hide figure inside, and if I can pop it back together, and then it double for later on. You have a figure stand.
There it is.
So you can have it afterwards. So
that is really cool.
I think it's going to be exciting. There's some new stuff in there. I think there's going to be some unexpected stuff, and I know there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to get grouchy because I don't know what's in it, how many of they are, what do I have to find out? It's like, don't stress about it. Enjoy the moment,
Right. So for those watching, and I know that this is going to go up before the official announcement tomorrow, but the Deep Space, what you're referring to, obviously that's an alien figure that you showed us. So it's a blind box, and it's going to have different sculpts and colors, right? Is it?
Yes.
And so, but they all come in the egg, and the egg doubles as a stand. And then, like you said, on Friday night, depending on if you get a double or if you want to trade with somebody else, you can come to the booth and trade, which is really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
At one point, we were really trying to have a life-size alien egg in the booth, and you were going to have to reach into the egg and pull your own out. Logistically, with the space of Comic-Con, the lines, fire marshals, we were not able to get that approved to actually do that, but we were hoping that you would actually have to reach into the egg and pull out your eggs and figure it out. We thought that was really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Inside them, because they're translucent, as you can sort of see here, there'll be a black blind bagged figure, and it could be a brand new sculpt that you've never seen before. It definitely will be a color or something you've never seen before. And I'm trying my best to not tell you how many or what colors or anything. You're just going to have to open them, find out what you get, and have some fun.
That's awesome. And then that's at your booth, which is number 5245. I just wanted to make that clear for our readers.
It's 5245 as of about 2 hours ago. They have just sent us an email, and they are moving a couple booths around. So our booth is actually going to move 3 rows over, and I do not have that booth number yet.
Oh, well, all right.
So
well,
all of our promo that's like, hey, go to 5245, will be wrong. We'll have to update new promo that says, I think it will be 4945, but I don't know for sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, we'll let everybody know as soon as you get that info. And those are $25 each, right? Those the eggs?
Yeah, it's $25 each. It's a you know, I know for some of these guys it'll be like $25 for a blind box. I mean, I don't know, but don't worry, the figure's awesome, and we're not going to make this thing again. And this thing costs more to make than the damn action figures. So
Wow. Wow.
it's
Yeah,
one of
that's
those things where
awesome.
we're like, we got to do it right. We got to do it right, and then doing it right costs money.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned something about you wanted to make something special for those who made it to Comic-Con. So, you're not going to be doing like a pre-sale or putting them online for people who can't attend? This is going to be strictly at your booth, right?
No, I mean, there's this didactic that happens with all the collectors right now, which is I think everyone has become so used to the fact that they can simply buy the figures after the fact or before the fact that there's nothing special about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bit of the opinion of like, hey, somebody just spent $1,500 on plane tickets and hotels to get out here. They took a week off of work. They're doing all this stuff. It's like, you should be able to get something that the guy down the hall just doesn't click and order online.
Right.
And I'm also, most of the toy companies out there, they produce so many that they have ample stock after San Diego to sell through. So you've gone through all this work to get here. You've gone to do all these things, and then afterwards you can still get it for retail, on their website. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to be dismissive or mean, but it's like, it's something special that happens at San Diego. If you want one, you should come.
Right.
Right. And I think that there's a sense of entitlement at a certain point that everybody's gotten to. It's like, why can't I have that? And it's like, and I understand the anti-flipper mentality, which is what we're going to try to combat like we did last year. I think what was good about last year is the fact that people could only buy one of the 2-pack meant that you didn't see them pop up on eBay. Like, people kept them. It wasn't the guy that says, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy 2 of everything at every booth. I'm going to keep one and I'm going to sell the other and pay for my trip.
Right.
And I'm going to gouge you for it. It's like, I don't want that guy coming to my booth. I want you as a collector who came out here to buy this and keep this for yourself. And I think so in that regard, that's where sort of, now that it has been announced today, that's where the playset comes into play. I don't know if you got to see the playset photos today.
No, I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, Cool Toy Review revealed it today. So the big alien box is a full-blown Kenner-style diorama cardboard backdrop playset.
Uh-huh.
And we spent quite a bit of time making it, but ultimately, like, there's no way we could make it in production because it's big. We estimated it, and it was $40,000 just for the mold.
Wow.
To make the base. And so I don't think that we can sell, 40,000 alien playsets. Sorry, guys. It's just not going to happen. So we're literally hand making them here, and we had the backing cards and the cardboard printed in the boxes, and it's a full-blown, Land of the Jawas playset, essentially, but for Alien. And that's just at Comic-Con. It will be one per person. We will punch people's badges so they can't get back in line and buy another one. And it's a thing. It's like, this is for you. This is not for you to make money on. This is not for you to, hold somebody else's toes over the fire with. This is for someone that wants it to buy it and have for themselves.
That's great. That's really great. We experience that a lot, seeing, like you said, the people that go there to flip them to pay for their trip or to bring them back to their shop. And, it takes away from everybody that just wants to buy it and put it on their geek mantle, So I really appreciate that. Yeah. You appreciate that, Yeah,
it's tough because then you've got a guy that lives in Des Moines and like, I can't go. I want to get this stuff. I don't want to pay through the nose. And it's like, I understand, but at the same time, like, I don't want to enable somebody to buy something so that somebody else that's there that wants it for their collection doesn't get to get it.
Sure. So and you mentioned you mentioned making your reaction toys and things like that available to the normal folk that can't make it to Comic-Con. But one thing I want to make it clear to our readers and listeners is that the reaction figure line is available on retail. Not these specifically, but you are having some retail releases. So I know that there are a few that are already out now. They started coming out in the spring. Is that right?
Well, Alien came out last year. Rocketeer
Right.
just came out about a month ago, and then starting in August, post San Diego, you'll start seeing all the other lines roll out pretty quickly. So the general action figures will always be available. I don't think some of the larger distribution partners have been announced yet, so I can't say that. I don't think. I'll have to confirm. But with Reaction as a whole, it's like I want you to be able to get it. I want you to go to the store and buy it. I want you to have one. Just it shouldn't be a chase. It shouldn't have to be. I've got to wake up at 7:30 in the morning and get in line with the Hot Wheels guys at Target. Trying to get the one that got on the peg the night before.
Right.
I mean, there's a certain thrill of the chase, but at a certain point you're like, man, I want you to be able to buy the toys. I want you to enjoy the toys. But at the same time, when we make something special, I actually want it to be special, not just special in name only.
That's great. And I mean, I'm from an age where we had to race out to the stores to get the Kenner Star Wars toys because they would fly off the shelves as soon as they got them. So, I'm anticipating and hoping that the Reaction line is as popular as those. So.
Yeah, me too. I want to keep making stuff. So, please buy your Reaction figures so I can make more Reaction figures.
That's great. All right, so can we get another shot of the alien egg for our viewers? Let's just see that again real quick.
See here.
That is awesome.
I'm trying to think. It's not really. It's front lit, so you're not really seeing that sort of. Like I said, the peg is back in here, so you can, Oh, look at that. So that should be plenty fun.
That's great.
I think in the background the USA game is going on. People are going crazy. So.
Yeah, we're recording this during the game.
The whole office is going bananas.
Breaking news. Did we win or lose? I don't know.
I think we just tied it in overtime.
Oh, great. So, perfect. So I wanted to close. I mean, obviously you're a fan as much as anything. What are you looking forward to Comic-Con this year?
It's going to sound silly. I mean, I've been going to Comic-Con, or we've been set up at Comic-Con for 13 years now. The thing that you look forward to after a while is not the ups and downs of product so much, is the people that you see over and over again. There's a lot of people that I only see one time of year, whether they be other people that make toys, diehard collectors from around the world, or just in general. I think the exciting and the fun part for me is catching up with those people and seeing all those people every year, because there's literally hundreds of people that I see once a year, but after 13 years I know them pretty well, because for 5 days I see them all the time. They stop by once or twice a day. Right. Hey, what's going on? Hey, I got another one of those. Hey, check this out. Oh, look at this. And there's always some unexpected thing. There's always a booth somewhere of somebody that you didn't know about, or that's coming up that's making some really great stuff. Mm-hmm. So more than anything, I'm looking forward to just seeing people, and then I'm really, really hoping that with the sort of the trade party, with the deep space stuff, with some of the other stuff. Can you hear all that?
I can, yeah. This is breaking news. We should be on CNN covering all this, right?
What I would say is I really hope that we just get to a point where we can, that people understand why we're making the toys, and they come to our booth, and you can sit there and you can talk to us about Blue Snaggletooth with whether they have dent or no dent on the foot, or Lily Letty, variations. It's like, we will nerd out with you and talk about that stuff, and I think some of that stuff's been lost. Speaking of that, though, one other thing that I thought we were going to talk about was
this. You do have it. Look at that. Very cool. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that one.
Same thing. One of the things what we wanted to do, what you see with the deep space, you see with the playset, and with this, is that when we come to San Diego, I don't simply want to repaint an existing figure, stick it on a card back, and give you the same thing you can get. Where it's like, I can do that and put it on a peg someplace. So we wanted to make sure that the product we brought had the packaging lived up to it. So, like in this case, you would have to bring out the GIMP in his wooden crate. Right. I can't put this on the shelf necessarily. Right. I mean, I probably could, but I can make that for San Diego, make it special, make it unique, make it exciting. And I think that's been our point of view is like when we go to San Diego, we're going to make really nice, packaged, well thought out things that you just can't buy on the shelf. And some of the simpler things we'll leave for the shelf so that, you know, everybody can get them. But to do some of the really fancy things at Comic-Con.
Yeah, and so just for our readers and listeners, that's the GIMP in a box reaction figure. Yep.
Yes,
so there's that. Yeah. There's actually a GIMP in there, right? Yeah.
There is a GIMP in there, but what does the copy say? It says you can bring them out when you've got captives that need to be watched over. So we'll let you decide when it's the right time to bring out the GIMP.
That's great, and that's also $25, right?
Yeah, it's $25, and same thing. Like we made enough of them that I think people will be able to get them if they show up to San Diego. We won't sell out on preview night, but we should be well sold out by the time the con ends, so that, you know, it's a nice even mix. We're trying to make it so if you came, you got them, so we don't have what happened last year, which is people show up on Thursday afternoon and aren't able to get anything.
Right.
But I don't want to make it so that after the con I've got 2,000 in a box someplace that I'm selling. You know.
Right. Exactly.
I don't understand that mentality.
That's great. Well, Brian, for our readers and listeners, so where can they find you on the internet?
You can find us at super7store.com, although that's mostly retail. Sign up for our email newsletter. That's where you'll get most of the news, because since most of our toy releases sell out pretty much within a couple hours, you'll go to the store site and be like, there's not much on here. Or sign up for, we think, booth 4945, or look for us 3 rows down from 5245.
Yep, and I'm a big fan, so I'll definitely be stopping by. So I appreciate the time, Brian, and good luck at Comic-Con. We'll see you in San Diego.